I find this topic that I am about teaching important to managers and team leaders. Okay, like I said, as team leaders and top managers, it's important for us to understand sales because team leaders are supposed to be salesperson, good salespersons, and top managers. Like I will always tell people, if you are a top manager in an establishment and you are not a good salesperson, it will limit your growth because establishment like bank, what gives you the promotion or possibility for promotion as a top management staff is your ability to bring in cash to the bank. So the more you have that ability, the more you get promotion, even to the level of directors and CEOs of the bank. That is why I say a bank is not interested in most times your academic qualification to make you a chairman of the bank. That is why the likes of Cosmos was able to, chair the Access Bank and I think both Fidelity Bank board, not because of education, but because of practical experience that has to do with financial management and finance generation. So as a top manager, it's important for you to understand that in your establishment, it is very crucial for you to be a good salesperson if you want to grow in such establishment. Like me, as the CEO of Odibola Properties, you can see sales is important to me. I leverage my position for sales. I leverage my position for sales because it's very crucial. People listen to me more. People give me the attention more because I can talk to them about the product. I can advise them on what to do, and I can, convince them to invest. Not convincing them with lies, not convincing them with misinformation, but because I have a proper information of what I sell. So as a top manager in an establishment, it's important for you to have a proper information of what you sell. So it is easy when you have this information, people want to listen to you more. It's just like you go and meet somebody, you are talking about your product or a landed property to the person or house to the person. And you tell the person that you are probably the HRO of Odibola Global Services Limited or the HRO of, Homeville or the HRO of FaceTime Picture. There is no way when it comes to that area of your command that they will not want to listen to you because they know you have more information. So if you give the proper information, it is easy for you to get those clients, and not just clients, high profile clients. So as a top manager in your establishment, don't just relax and concentrate on your area of calling alone. Understand that you can also multiply sales by, involving so much in sales. Most of you have sold, right? So how do you sell as a manager? How do you usually convince the client? I believe that by the time you meet a client, you usually introduce your title to the client because that is one of the catching points, right? But it's also easy for you not to sell once you introduce your title and you're not giving the client the information they desire. Because the client believes that as someone in that position, you should have more information. So when they are receiving less information, they tend to reject that purchase or that sales will not go through. But today we are going to be looking at sales objections in real estate, how to handle sales objections. Most people that are discouraged from selling today, the reason they are discouraged is because over and over they've tried to sell and the sale is not actually working. So you see them, they just relax. There is no courage. They feel because they've spoken with Mr. A did not purchase despite the effort they put in. They are going to Mr. B again. They are going to be wasting their time. And before you know, they get discouraged. So I need us to go into this definition, how to handle sales objection in real estate. I am glad to have you here as a discuss the techniques for transforming objection into opportunities for success. Have you ever considered how mastering the act of managing sales objection could help you increase sales and stand out in the real estate market? Handling sales objection is unavoidable aspect of real estate transaction. How can you respond to them in the beauty, as this can be the difference between closing a contract and losing a client. Now, critical question you should ask yourself: how can I effectively overcome overcome objection in real estate to close more deals and build stronger client relationship? What strategies do I need to develop to navigate the challenges of objection and turn them into successful sales? So let's go into the definition. Sales objections are consigned or reason a potential buyer may have for not proceeding with a real estate transaction. They are expected and happen in almost every real estate transaction. The objections are the factors that causes prospective buyers to hesitate or say outright no to what you are offering. Have you been in a situation where you are talking to a client and in fact to you, you have rounded up that transaction? Have you been in such situation? In fact, to you, that client must buy, right? And you've been on that client for like 1 week. The client is giving you a positive response while he listens to your conviction on how the product will help them and all that. And suddenly you just see the client go blink. The client refuse to pick your call, the clients refuse to talk to you. And most times you just see the client tells you that he's not actually ready for that purchase. What changes? Something changes, right? Because the client has always had this, zeal to pick your call, to speak with you, to hear from you. Then suddenly everything changes. I've seen most of, the top managers and team leaders in Odibola come to tell me that, oh, I have this client that wants to buy. The client is willing. The client is paying tomorrow. And suddenly the client is not forthcoming. What do you think happened? What do you think happened? Something happened, right? Do you know most of them too, they don't tell you no outrightly. Most of them, probably the way they've gone with you during the conversation, they feel telling you no will not be too good. So they just tell you that they have an expectation, it is not yet available. They tell you that something came up, they just call them from the village. Or they tell you that, oh, and their wife just fell sick. People can lie with anything. In fact, to put you off totally, some may even tell you that their son just had an emergency, based on how you have conversed with them. And that is why I tell you that in conversing with clients when it comes to sale, do not be carried away. The client listens to every of your words. The client wants to know your contradiction. So, in as much as the client is familiarizing with you, if you have not closed that deal, you have not closed the deal. You get what I'm saying? There is no such thing like this deal must be closed. If you have not closed the deal, you have not closed the deal. So you need to be careful with the information you give the client. You need to be careful with how you relate with the client. You need to be careful on how you follow up the client. There are some clients you over follow up, they will be discouraged from buying. Because you too that is selling a product, if your product is good enough, you won't disturb me so much. You will have a technique of follow up. You won't follow me up as if it's all about the money. So a lot of things can cause that, sales objection. And like I said, sales objection is when the client says outright no, or hesitates, to what you are offering them. And now when that sales objection happens, most people don't have what it takes to handle it. They get discouraged. They get frustrated, right? They feel they've put in so much effort. They feel they've contributed in that relationship for over 2 months. How can this person slip off their hand? The man or the lady is not even taking their calls anymore. So they get so worried, they get so bothered, they take it personal. And when you take things personal like that, it begins to affect you emotionally. In fact, some will go as far as cursing the client. This client is so stupid. Upon all the strength I've put in this transaction, some will even go as far as reacting to their colleagues. You just greet them because they've lost that transaction. They react differently and arrogantly to you. So you need to understand that when things like this happen, there are ways of handling them so that it will not hurt you, so that it will not affect you, so that you can move ahead, because there are more clients waiting for you to convince them, right? There are more clients waiting for you to tell them what you have so that they can, patronize you and buy from you. So one client that you miss shouldn't get you so frustrated that you are not seeing other clients that are out there. And that is why we said Most people today in the real estate industry or in other industry are mostly discouraged when they are not able to handle sales of rejection or objection. So let's see how we can handle this sales objection, because you also need to understand that when certain things happen, if you don't handle them the way they ought to be handled, it affects you and it limits your growth and affects your courage in order to push forward. Importance of handling sales objection. Objection are avoidable. Objection are unavoidable in any sales process. Objection are unavoidable in any sales process. Your response to them can make or destroy the business deal. By resolving these concerns, you move closer to closing and strengthening the trust and credibility required for long-term client relationship. You know, like I will always say, I had to dissolve the sales team, because if I can sell 80 or 70% of the product, yeah, it simply means all of you can sell, right? Isn't it? HRO. If I can sell 70% as the chairman and CEO of the company, it simply means every top manager and team leader can sell. Most times it's because we've not discovered that we can sell, or we feel that that is not our role. But I keep telling you people, the more you sell, the more you make more money for yourself. The salary in any organization cannot keep you, whether you like it or not, because your wants, what you need, comes up every day without excuse, without even informing you. So it's important for you to think on how to generate extra income to solve these unseen, unexpected problems that comes. So as a manager and team leader, it's important for you to take sales as part of your daily life. It should be part of your daily life. Nobody comes across me that I know can invest in real estate that I don't encourage. We're actually solving problem from them, whether you like it or not. I was talking to a salesperson a few days ago, and I told the person, real estate consultancy is not all about agency, taking agents' fee. When you see it as all about taking agent fee, that is when you move from one company to another because you want an increased agent fee. So somebody tells you that you will have 15% for a transaction. You will leave where they are giving you 10%. And I asked her a simple question. Have you done due diligence of the documentation of the people offering you 15%? Or people are using the leverage of the fact that you have access to people to dupe people unknown to you? Now, then you can justify it and say, oh, after all, it's not my company name. After all, those clients will not do me anything. They know that I'm a marketer. But don't forget, as a consultant, it is in your hand to advise your client rightly on investment. It is in your hand to protect your client on investment. It is in your hand to make sure that any property your client is investing in, you are sure that that property is well documented and there will be no issue arising. It is important too for you to understand that any client that comes to it is because they've trusted you. So taking them to any establishment, you should be sure of their credibility. But if you are an agent, you don't care. It's all about the percentage. So grow up from being just an agent to a real estate consultant that advises your client on the best deal to invest in. And in the process, even when you know that your client is willing to pay for a particular product and you know that that product is not right for your client, don't be shy. Tell your client that you later discover that something is wrong with this. I've done it with many clients, and that is why I've retained a lot of relationship as a real estate, consultant. So it's not about enumeration. It's not about the agency is high. Someone who has not paid for a property or who is buying a property he knows has encumbrances and is giving you 30%, you are losing because the person is eating higher. And at the end of the day, I asked the consultant, how can you confront that client next time? How can you relate to the client when the client was not able to get what they pay for? It simply means you've lost a relationship, right? And in the real estate industry, relationship is important. Most of the people that have invested through me, they came through relationship. And that is why I tell consultants, because you want to sell doesn't mean you will lie to the client. It is not professional for you to give client what you know you will not offer them or what you know will not come in that package just because you want to propel them to give you money. Because after giving you that money, they will start waiting for that thing you've promised. It will not be long. I told the consultant that there are some people that has bought property from real estate firms. One of the promises is that the property will be without encumbrance, right? But today, most real estate firms put them on WhatsApp group, telling them to pay some money because there is a court case. But we don't do it here. So most times, if you are expecting higher percentage, I also look at my expenses to determine the percentage I will give you. It's not about giving you higher percentage, and at the end of the day, I cannot even run the company, or you cannot even run the establishment. So when I advise her, I told her, go and think about it and advise yourself, whether you just want to be an agent or a consultant, so that you create better relationship. Agent does one off. After they close that transaction, is over. They start looking for another person again. They are like hunters. Okay, I have a house, so will you buy? As soon as he buys, he doesn't care to know about the man. But as a consultant, your person will call you and say, I have someone that sold a property last time for me. I love the advice. I needed to get some information about this one I want to buy. They will call you and they will start asking you, what do you think about this product? And that is why I said, as a top management staff, it is important for you to know everything that has to do with the product you are selling. You can't sell the product without knowing it. Most objection you see is as a result of your inability to interpret the product. It's as a result of your inability to convince the client beyond all reasonable doubt, according to lawyers. Because when you convince me beyond all reasonable doubt, there is no way I will not patronize you. So if you know that the person wants to buy, the person has the money to invest, and something along the line led to the person objecting on sales, it's not time for you to say, get out. It's not time for you to say, I'm not calling that person again. It's not time for you to say, I'm not going to relate to this person again. I've wasted my time. You know, you will be tempted when you are objected most times to feel that that relationship is gone. No, you can still be checking up on that person. You can still be following up the person. How are you, sir? So we have, just like we are having an end of year, is an opportunity to invite most of them that object yourselves. You don't know, because you may not have given them a proper clarity. But that day when we'll be talking about our product and they are seeing other things we have achieved, it is easy for them to have a proper clarity. You don't know. So this is an opportunity. So if you have someone that has objected your sales before now, talk to the HRO, see how you can bring them to this end of year. Because in this end of year, the company is going to also showcase what they have to the public and showcase what they have achieved and talk about the battles they fought and talk about the battles they've won and talk about how they are trying to strengthen the business to ensure that clients' investment is protected and clients achieve maximum return from their investment based on their expectation. You see, like I said, objections are unavoidable. Objection must come when it comes to transaction. No matter how good you are, no matter how professional you are, objection must come. Let us look at a situation where we are relating it to a common thing, where a man is interested in a lady, and after razzling the lady objected. What happens for most men? They get angry, right? They start reacting, right? They start feeling, who is this lady? In fact, they start attacking the lady. You've been there, right? The way you smile, you've been there. And do you notice that most times when you react, the lady begins to tell her friend that, thank God I did not accept. Are you seeing the kind of person I would have ended up with? Are you seeing the kind of character? You know, that is what happened with sales. Once there is an objection and there is an unruly reaction, there is this, thank God I did not invest. Wow, so this man has this kind of dirty character, because some will go as far as posting on their statutes. If you don't want to buy property, you don't need to deceive people. You don't need to put people into too much conversation. You don't need to make... So when you put those things out there, the client sees them and they begin to tell themselves, God, thank you for your direction. You know, but most times we don't understand that nothing is common when it comes to a business transaction. You don't just do things based on your emotion. That is why there are positions you don't put people who are not professionals. And being professional simply means you have mastered your emotion and you are self-aware, which is the next topic we are going to take. And that is why I need to take this one before that one. You know, objection, have it in your mind first. Objection is unavoidable, right? Don't the client have the right to object you? Don't the client have the right? Is it not the client money? Most times we want to even intimidate them to making them feel they don't have that right by virtue of the way we speak with them. Someone is giving you a reason why he's objecting. You are giving a reason why the person should still buy. You need to also see a reason with the person why he's objecting most times, because that reason might even give the person more money to transact with you. I have a family friend that wants to invest in Crankot 2. Crankot 2 is actually 92 million, and we don't take less than 50%. But because this person is a friend and a family friend, I had to tell her to even do, I think, 85 or 85 million. And I told her she can do 10 million first. Now, whether we like it or not, there is a way you will still follow up that client. The client will even object on that 85 million, not knowing that it's a huge favor you've done, right? There are questions the client will ask, because she asked me a lot of questions. And that is why I said that somebody is your family member does not mean that the person will patronize you. Because most family members also feel that you may not have the right information to give them, or you are being sentimental because of the percentage you are going to get, or you are being sentimental because you are part of the system and you want to show yourself in that system. You don't know deeply about that system. That shows in one transaction we did too recently with one of our lawyers that left here. It took us over 2 weeks to close that transaction because the father kept asking question upon question. And the father was asking question. He was convincing the father. I told him, no. You are the son. Allow me to do my job. It is in my hand to speak with your father. If your father wants to invest, he will invest because I will tell him the truth. And after telling him the truth, he invested. But do you know that if we're not careful with that transaction, the man would have objected that transaction, not because we don't have the right product, but because we did not appeal his quest for, that question he asks. We did not give him the response that appeal that his quest. So at the end of the day, you just see the man will object. And the son might be angry because he has lost a percentage. So that is why I said, as a salesperson, the first thing you have in mind is that objection is unavoidable. Objection must come. People must object you. When you have that in mind, it gives you a balance on how to handle objection when it comes. Your response to them can make or destroy the business deal. By resolving these concerns, you move closer to closing and strengthening the trust and credibility required for long-term client relationship. I've seen a client that wanted to invest in Odibola when we started. Just getting to our environment when we were in our one-room office 7-8 years ago, the client was even going back. Like I said, your response to them makes or destroy the business deal. Have you seen some persons, when they are objected, they start being insultive to the client? They start responding arrogantly to the client. Before the transaction, they were very smooth in their reaction, in their response. But once they see the client, rejecting that transaction based on a consign, they begin to bring out their arrogance. Something will tell them that is like you are too humble. That is why the client is handling you like this. They will begin to bring a level of arrogance, like, talking to the client anyhow. That is why we said the way you handle objection matters. You might handle objection well, the client might at the end of the day patronize you. Or you handle it wrongly, the client will just opt out of that deal. So let's look at, number one importance is identifying clients' needs. Identifying clients' needs. When objections are raised, they frequently indicate underlying concerns that the client has not entirely expressed. Are you seeing it? When objection is raised, it simply means there is an underlying concerns that the client has not fully expressed. Most of them feels with how they have gone with you and you have not been able to give them a reasonable answer. There is no point going further. Let me just cut it from here. Now, that is why I keep telling you that it is wise most times when you hear certain response, you take the client to the next level of introducing them to a top manager or even the boss that can talk about the property better than you. There is nothing wrong with that. That is why a salesperson or someone who is involved in sales should be totally humble to understand that you are not an island, you don't know everything. And that is why we talk about collaboration. That is why we talk about teamwork. Your ability to meet somebody that can explain better might help you make that sales happen. So you see, there are always underlying concern that causes objection. Addressing this objection provide meaningful insight into the client's values to better match their expectations. Anybody coming to transact with you have an expectation, right? Isn't it? Anybody coming to transact with you have an expectation. Let's assume some persons are coming to buy one of the Odibola product, which is Elite Court. And the man is asking, what is the service charge? It's a straight question. And you start saying, it will not. The man wants to know. He wants to check if he's actually living in rent or is a landlord. Because some persons are actually living in rent even as they have purchased the property. And they cannot do anything based on the agreement they signed. You know, based on the agreement they signed, they cannot do anything. You understand what I'm saying? So when the man asks certain questions, he asks the question to have an insight if it matches their expectations. And if it does not matches their expectation, they will not transact that business with you. It's just like going to market a client on Crank or two, and you are making the client understand that it is residential. And the client coming to the office to pay is seeing an agreement or an offer letter that is showing that it's strictly for short let or Airbnb. What happens? The client will decline because the client will know that the service charge will be something else. A place where you pay service charge up to 400,000 a month. If you're not doing business with it, you can't survive it in long run, right? So you now you've gone to convince the client and lie to the client that is residential, you can live here. In your mind, let me just say collect his money, anything he sees. That is why I say consultant must be truthful. You must convince with the truth. I can't convince any client with lies because it will not be too long, the client will know. And that is why it is easy for me to close deals. It is very easy for me to close. I have sold property that are in court and we are in the court process. I still tell client that we are in court process. And you see clients still closing the deal. Because I will not be foolish to go and buy a property that I know I will lose in court, or a property that has such an encumbrances that when we go to court, I will have an issue and I'm calling somebody to buy. It's fraud, right? But let the client have that understanding because you're not dealing with fools. They will also go and make inquiries. They will also go and do due diligence. And when they go to do a due diligence and discover that everything you told them is the same thing, they find that they will transact with you. Because they know that for you to have told them the truth, that means it's a battle that you can win. Am I making sense? But when the client go and make their due diligence and discover that almost everything you told them are lies, from there they won't call you again. You are like an enemy. In fact, when they see you talking with somebody that they don't even know, they go to tell the person, be careful. Be careful with that person. He came to tell you about real estate, right? Be careful, please. I had an encounter with that person. Because everybody don't do due diligence, whether you like it or not. Some people just transact because they trusted you. Some people just transact because someone that they trusted told them about you. So when you are talking to them, don't talk to them as if they are foolish. Talk to them with the truth, else they will object that sales, and at the end of the day, you will lose that client. Not just losing the client, you will lose the client forever and lose everybody that could have come through that client. Close deals. Handling objection is essential to sealing deals successfully. Addressing client concerns clarifies their worries and make them feel more at ease moving forward. This way, you are not only pushing for a sale, but also assisting the client in recognizing the value of your services. Also assisting the client in recognizing the value of your services. Handling objection essential to sealing deals successfully. Addressing client concerns clarifies their worries and makes them feel more at ease moving forward. This way, you are not only pushing for a sale, but also assisting the client in recognizing the value of your services. So when a client objects to a transaction, it simply means the client needs more clarification. It simply means the client needs more conviction. It is important for you to Ask the client so that you will know the area you have not convinced them better. And if it is possible for you to bring them to your superiors, to talk to them more, you bring them to your superiors. You can still tell a client that I don't have this information you are asking, but I know that my boss can give you the information. Your boss can be a top manager. Your boss can even be a colleague. Because in sales, anybody that knows it better than you is a boss, whether you like it or not. Am I not right? Eh? The person is a boss until you know it. So you can just tell the person, let me take you to my leader that knows this thing better. Because when you solve that worries, when you clarify the client's doubt, you will likely sell to that client. And the client will understand that you know your coin. And before you know it, when the client have an issue that has to do with your area of specialization, real estate, they tend to call you for consultation to know how they can move forward. It doesn't matter if you're the one selling to them. It doesn't matter if you're the one that owns the property. It doesn't matter if it is your company. But because they've trusted and value your services and how you handle objection and issues, they tend to trust you. And they will call you probably to advise them on how they should go as regard a transaction, not even in the state that you are in, because they know that you're a professional, you know what you're doing. Isn't it better that a client is calling you to ask you questions as regard other transaction after they transact with you? If you are not in that cadre, you need to up your game. You need to understand that you have more work to do. And that is why I said, as a top manager, this thing should be in your beck and call. Because if you keep telling a client that, me, I'm an accountant there, I don't know much. Sir, I'm a site manager. I'm a team leader in the site. I'm an HRO. Do I really know much about it? I'm just concentrating in my work. A top manager is supposed to be versatile. There is no area you ask a lawyer as regards life that a lawyer does not have something to say, isn't it? Because a lawyer can have a case to defend that has to do with medicals, right? That has to do with political, that has to do with land, that has to do with every aspect of life. That is why they say they are learned. The reason they say they are learned is because of their ability to, contribute to every aspect that they are called to contribute on. Are you seeing it now? Because as your defense counsel, they are defending what you have done, isn't it? And if they are defending what they have done, if they don't have the knowledge of that thing, they can't defend you. So a top manager is supposed to have an idea of not just the company's affairs. You need to have an idea. You need to be versatile so that when you are put into conversation by your client, you have something to offer. Most clients, you are talking real estate, you are talking politics. So if you don't have something to talk about politics, you don't have something to hold them on to do that conviction. So don't just sit and blind your brain and say, hey, it's only land, it's only real estate. Most clients, you are talking real estate, they are talking religion. So I will have a client. Oh, there is this church I attended. Even the pastor was talking about real estate. I was wondering, pastors encourages people to invest too. That is wonderful. Oh. And when they were encouraging these people, the pastor was saying they can even start small. Come to pastor. Some pastors chase women. Oh, like what happened in Guinea-Bissau recently. A man, 400 ladies. And you are saying, really? So when did that happen? This thing that is all over the internet, you don't even know. So when did that happen? You don't even know what causes them, what led to them seeing those things. It happened, but when the man said, probably the man made such statement, and he said, wow. So I was shocked. Why wouldn't he be corrupt now? A public servant going around women like that, you can see a little probe they gave him, had to go through his system to see how he saved this thing. And I even discovered from more research that he was even selling those things to porn sites and making more money. The person will look, are you serious? As conversation not come. But you, They even discover, are you serious, sir? Sir, you are intelligent, oh. Sir, you know things, so. When did that? So the man will like, you don't know. He said, so do I have time? Do I have time? It's just this our company and business. So I will say, ah, really? Really? Oh, you think he's praising you? The man is going, oh. After that transaction, there is no conversation. There are most of my clients will converse today after transaction. We don't talk about land again. We talk about a lot of things. We can talk for 1 hour. We are talking about a lot of things. The next land they will buy, the next house they will buy from me. So go and help your brain. Oh. It's important. Don't just limit yourself to what you do in this company or to what you do in your company. Be versatile. Do research. There is even AI chat that you can ask questions that can tell you any answer. Why don't you go there? Me, I go to do it, run a test. Now I just go to AI. I don't most times doctor don't interpret to me. They will give you the interpretation of your test result. You know, so the one they've given you wrong result, I want to kill you. You know, Nigerians can be funny. I hope you know. You don't know because people are not held liable to certain things. You know, most times the reason you see the international or the Western world doing things rightly is because people are held responsible for their mistake. It's just like in the apartment, someone using inverter to iron and kill our battery, and you tell the person don't pay, or you tell the person forgive, and you will forgive. The person will continue the next day. I'm not throwing shade, though. And you forgive, the person will continue. That same person has burned clothes before. You are forgiven. So the more you forgive, the person will continue. But in the Western world, you pay. Next time, you will know the right thing to do. Isn't it? So most times, we need to understand that sales go beyond just talking about the product. Sales go beyond. Most times, you even dive into marital issue. The person you are selling for has marital issue. At that point, you need to now advise the person. The person you are selling for had heartbreak. In fact, he's buying that land to console, or that house to tell his enemy that he's still succeeding. So at that point, the person is sounding emotional. And you ask what really happened, the way you are sounding. And the person has said, my dear, girl I've been with for a very long time. You say, oh, no, so then do. That is how they are now. Me, the other one, 3 years ago, she just left, but I'm still prospering. That is not what the man is in love. You weren't in love. It was easy for you to move on because you weren't in love. The man is in love. So at that time, what you tell the man, we either console him to hold you tight or discourage him to detach from you. So as a salesperson, know beyond the property. You think it is come by using selling these things? It is, do you think it's come by? Oh, I'm the chairman of Odibola Properties Limited. And so, haven't you seen 419s that are chairman? Oh, you think every business that is in Nigeria is good? Don't worry. You begin to know. So the people want to hear from you. Learn this thing as a top manager. Don't go to where you talk. People will say to Fiakwa, who be this? What is this person? They talk shabre. They are talking, they are bringing conversation. You are far behind the conversation. You don't even have anything to contribute. You mustn't be a parrot, but let it be that once you open your mouth to talk, there is something to say. As regards that thing that everybody will start attention to listen and say, wow, this person is really intelligent. Let people know you are intelligent, because when they know you are intelligent, they will know you can't sell them rubbish. Because you have details of what you are giving them. Am I speaking? Yes. Building trust and credibility. Building trust and credibility. Taking the time to listen to clients and address their problem demonstrates that you care about their worries. This art builds trust. Clients prefer to work with someone who listens to them and delivers honest answers. By effectively handling objections, you demonstrate that you are a credible person to do business with, which most likely will lead to long-term business relationship. Take note, taking time to listen to clients and address their problem and address their problem as a consultant, one of your duty, or as a top manager, one of your duty is to address clients' problem as regards the property you are talking to them about. And most times you may not even be talking to them about a property. It is about a property they've already purchased. It is about a property they have already invested in, but they are interested in investing in other property. And they came to tell you about their concerns. You didn't listen. You just put them off. And that is the attitude we don't want in establishment. Because when you do that, you are destroying the trust those people had or have in that establishment. Before they came to transact, there was a trust built, right? So after that trust has been built, probably they have a little concern. And they're asking you a question, you're arrogantly answering them because you are not the one that sold to them. You don't know that the way you answer that client at that time might even lead the client investing through you because you gave them more relevant answers to what they've always heard. So you can build credibility based on how you handle objection. And like I said, objection does not simply mean the client have finally decided not to buy you, right? Objection simply means that the client is objecting those your responses to his question that will finally lead them to exit that transaction. So the way you are talking to them and you see them objecting and you understood that this one is slipping off my hand, be wise to know that if you don't have the right information, be sincere to them and bring them to where they can have the right information. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? Clients like transacting with people that can listen to them. Because when someone comes to meet you as regards property, I think that is because they want an advice. They want an advice and believing that you are a professional that can give them the right advice. So the first thing you do is to listen to their worries, is to pay attention to their demand, is to ensure that you carefully, listen to what will, trigger their attention to investing in your establishment. So when you listen to them, they can rely on you, not just in that transaction, they can rely on you by bringing their friends, referring their friends to do other transaction with you, even without being there. Even in this construction, there are vendors, there are artisans I've introduced to people. Those artisans were introduced because they have what it takes to listen to us, their we that they are working for. So you know that when you introduce them, they are not going to disappoint you, right? So you just introduce them to people and you become the surety. You tell the people, deal with him. I've trusted him. Whatever happens, hold me responsible. I've introduced some artisans like that. But there are some, I will tell you, they are very good, sir. But be careful, oh. They can't be trusted with money. Once you give them money, you will be looking for them. So be that consultant or top manager that listens. That just does not just listen to convince, but listen to solve the worries of the client. Because you can still listen just to convince the client to invest, but you did not solve the client's worries, right? Most people don't have a mind of their own. So because they've taken you through processes, they don't just have choice. They will just do that investment. Not because they are okay, not because you convince them, not because you listen or you solve their problem, but they don't just want you to feel bad. So they are investing for you not to feel bad. And at the end of the day, they will not feel bad because you don't have a good character to keep that investment or manage that investment for them. You get what I'm saying? Let's look at improved sales. Consistently handling objections allows you to fine-tune your sales approaches. Each sales objection met provides a learning opportunity, allowing you to expect future concerns and develop more convincing solutions, making you a more effective salesperson. Are we salesperson? As a top manager or a team leader, are you a salesperson? Yeah, I'm a salesperson. Do you know that when you solve a particular problem by listening to a client objection, you have developed capacity? When one such objection comes from a different angle, it is easy for you to just sort it out because you have already developed capacity by listening to a particular client concern and you have handled that concern and the client was satisfied. So even if you follow that same approach and this other client have a reservation, it is easy for you to just input one or two things than starting from the beginning again. Are you getting what I'm saying? So client objection helps you to develop capacity. It helps you to develop capacity. So you should be happy when you have a client that is giving you issue before they transact. You should be happy when you have a client that is asking you 100 questions before they transact. You should be happy because if you don't know how to answer that question at that time, it simply means 20 or 100 of those clients you cannot sell for them. And they have more than 100 of those same clients that is objecting you today. So the earlier you know how to answer such questions, the earlier you have answers to those questions, the better for you. And I say the best way to answer questions is answering questions with the truth. Is that not what I said? You answer questions with the truth because the truth cannot be changed, isn't it? You cannot contradict yourself if you say the truth, isn't it? There are people you see today that once they talk, you call them to repeat that thing, they will say same thing 100 times. In fact, most times they don't know they've interacted with you. They are just repeating the same thing they've said. And you'll be the one to tell them that you said this last 2 years. But there are people that just within 3 minutes, once they finish saying something and you call them again, the next thing you hear them say is totally different and off what they've said. And you begin to wonder what happened. And you probably will say, sir, you said it. Are you serious? They will not begin to look for what they said because they've forgotten. You know why? They lied. When you lie, you give yourself double task. You don't know? When you lie, you give yourself what? Double what? At one of our sites recently, we discovered some people steal the rods in the site. And I went to investigate and I called the engineer in charge. And I didn't ask the engineer, did you steal? Because of how I saw the rod, I said, who is your collaborator? And the engineer said, is the only person doing it. I said, no, for you to successfully take something out of this site, there must be collaborator. You're not a spirit. You vanish with the thing. Once you hold it, you vanish. You say, Oroto, you rather take me out. Boom, you go. So as I keep asking him, he said the security is his collaborator. But I also know the security alone cannot be his collaborator. It's not possible because there is always a storekeeper in every site. And the storekeeper takes account of what happens there. And apart from the storekeepers, most of the engineers' eyes are on what is in the site because they want to believe that you are not selling alone. You are also giving them something. So I said, only the security? He said, yes. I said, are you protecting others? He said, no. And I know one person that usually steals. And I went to meet the person. I said, how long have you been stealing with these people? The person started patronizing me by saying, right from the last time this person advised me, I stopped it. I said it is high time I focus. I said, but my mind, you never focus. So, so when the person finishes, he said, then we used to sell off-cut, we used to sell wood, we used to sell. I said, not just you. How many of you? He said, I won't lie, it's all the engineers, all of us. I said, So when he finishes convincing me that he's no longer stealing, that means this part of stealing the stole is not aware. And I brought to his knowledge, I said, you have contradicted yourself. I said, you are aware. I pointed it out to him. He kept mute. It is easy to know a liar. They must contradict themselves. Nobody can lie enough to say the same thing often. It's not possible. Don't you know that? No matter how expert you are in lying, that is why he's a liar now. Because you cannot repeat the same thing often. Even lawyers that you see lie in court, they write it. They go and read again before they go. They don't just lie offhand. You don't know. They go and groom their client and tell them how to do the lying. And say, in case you don't know, let me do a voice note or write it for you to memorize. So that means they are telling you this particular lie, keep it here. Don't take it off. Isn't it? These our lawyers don't lie. They don't lie in court. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody is good enough. That is why even in law, you see, when they are cross-examining, most times the defense lawyer will call to the knowledge of the client and say, did you say this? Because he has forgotten that he said something else last 3 weeks. So the judge will still put it on record. I was supposed to be a lawyer. I don't know what to make them give me account after trying job for 5 years. I'm telling you, it's not I wanted to read, but I know I would have caused trouble. So maybe God just changed it. You understand what I'm saying? So that is to tell you that even the person that was groomed couldn't just keep to the truth. How can you see someone that murdered? You say, let him say he did not murder. It was when he was passing there in Sokoto. Then there is a girl that slapped him at the back. When the girl slapped him at the back, he saw that the man that is blind threw a stick. He never knew somebody was there. And the thing. So how can that person memorize that? Just agree that you killed. Lawyer will still tell you to say you didn't kill. So I'm just buttressing the fact that it is easy for you to contradict yourself with lies. And that is why as a top manager, there is this eye the client sees you with. He sees you with the eye of someone who have the whole information that they need. And once you begin to lie to them, they lost credibility for the full company, not just your person. Because for a company to put you as a top manager, they should believe that you have certain level of integrity. That is why I cry every day and I said, if you are a manager in any establishment, build integrity, build trust. You cannot do things the way you want to do at that level, or a team leader. You are leading a set of people. You are now like a mirror. They look at you and they leave. So there is level of integrity you should have. You shouldn't just do. There is a responsibility that comes with such position. When you talk, people should just sleep when you speak and believing that your word is truth. And that is why when you are in that cadre, there is no point lying to a client on investment, because you have every information they need and they believe everything you give them. So if they find out that there is any little error in the information you give them, the client will just slip away. They won't transact. Are you getting what I'm saying? So sales is not lie. Sales is convincing people with the truth on something that will benefit them in future. That is what sales is all about. The sales that they lie about is most of the product you see in shelf, not in land, because land is easy to do due diligence. But you see all those products that they have relabeled, put something that is, something that will kill you might be in the thing. They put something that will nourish you. Like they give you a juice that they process with color and they say it has vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E. And you will not tell your family, let's enjoy you. I think take enough vitamin E. Ooh, you are dying, That thing does not have any vitamin, That is selling you lies and advertising it for you to buy. They tell you Coke nourishes you. Diet Coke. What diet? What is diet about a Coke? What is diet about a Coke? But they do an advert that makes you believe that an athlete took it and became nourished and, refreshed. So immediately you start drinking Coke. They tell you Coke is bad for you. You say, no, Coke good, though. I like them. And you get addicted with it. So there are sales that comes with that. But when it comes to real estate, the reason you can't lie is because the person have a right to go and check the root title, to go and investigate the root title of your document, to go and investigate the location of the land, what issues is on the land. So it's not something you can escape. Are you getting what I'm saying? So it's easy for you to improve your sales if you relate with the client with truthfulness and tell them everything that has to do with that property and give them responses that appeal their demand for answers. The root causes of sales objections in real estate. The root causes. There are always a root cause for everything, isn't it? When you have a quarrel with somebody or you have an issue with somebody, most times that issue did not just start that day, because you cannot just react one day, right? There must be something ongoing that you might not have expressed that triggers what happened that particular day you have that issue with a person that has made you burst out, right? Isn't it? And that is why we usually say when you have an issue or you have a reservation, discuss it with the person. Because it could also be a misconception. It could also be something that you have in mind may not be what is in the person's mind. And at the end of the day, you are busy attacking the person with what the person never thought of. Now, understanding the actual causes of the objection is essential to properly resolve them. In real estate, objection typically occurs when potential buyers are unsure or uncomfortable about something. Like I said, there must always be something for someone to object on. Isn't it? Isn't it? For you to object, there is something you observe. You say, just something say observation, sir. That means you have objected. So don't continue with that discussion. There is an observation, isn't it? So until you settle that observation, conversation cannot continue. So there are conversations you are having with a client and there is an objection. Until you settle that objection, conversation cannot continue. So most times you need to also know what has caused the objection along the line, the breakage in communication, this client that has been flowing, what has happened. So begin to search every word you have spoken to the client that has led to that. You can still call the client and say, I know you are worried about this. Let me give you full explanation of what I meant. The client will not say, oh, so you know. It simply means you are smart enough to go back on your word with the client to know where he might have that objection. Isn't it? You see a lady comes out in the morning from the house, your wife, and she's boning after greeting you, and you feel it's normal. It's not normal. Begin to look at what you discuss at night that has made her slept and reacted in the morning. Right? So you will be wise to tell her that, baby, is it this thing I said that? She will not say, so you know. You might not have noticed that that has caused such objection or caused such reaction. But because you care. So if you care about your client, you must be interested in knowing what is causing the objection as conversation is going on. Because it's not all of them that can express the reason they are objecting to that conversation on sales. You understand what I'm saying? Are you getting what I'm saying? So I said, in real estate, objection typically occurs when potential buyers are unsure or uncomfortable about something. It could be the property price, location, condition, or financial situation. When a client arises a concern, it may not necessarily be what it seems. For example, if a client argues the property is too expensive, the actual reason may not be the price, but rather a lack of understanding of the value they would receive. Are you seeing it now? Are you getting what I'm saying? A client is telling you that your property is expensive does not mean that your property is expensive. The client wants you to expatiate more on the value that property will give them and why you are selling that property that much. The Crown Court 2 is sold for 92 million and it will end with 120 million. And somebody is asking, why is that expensive? We have a conference hall in that place. We have a swimming pool and gym in that place. We have a restaurant in that place. We have a lounge in that place. That means you are enjoying all these things in one place. It will rise the sales of the shortlet above every shortlet that is in this Jarwe. Because people want a one-stop shop where they can do everything at a time. That means the place can house at least 100 persons coming for conference because we have over 30 units. And if you have over 30 units of two bedroom, that means 4 persons can be in one unit of the 2 bedroom. 4 times 30. So they are even above 100. So we have a capacity for 150 persons in the conference hall. So if we have this capacity, we also have a lounge where they can do after party after their meeting. We didn't just have that, we have a gym. So there is no way the value can be the same with a man building a 2 bedroom without any facility. So if you are talking to a client about your 2 bedroom for 92 million in Crown Court 2, emphasize on the thing the client need to profit. That means the return in investment comes quickly. Because let's assume there is more interest in coming to lodge there, and you are doing 150 or 200 per night, you can have over 28 or 25 occupancy in a month. So by the time you do analysis to the client and make the client understand that in less than 5 years, they have gotten the return in investment, who will not want to invest? But when the client asks you, you laugh. So like Jerry, so it's Jerry. Jerry is very expensive. So you know the man is looking at you. You're not telling him anything. You're a professional for crying out loud. You know, solve my concern why I'm saying the property is expensive. Give me reason why I should invest in this property. So by the time you give that, there are people I sold certain property to by doing analysis of what they tend to achieve in investing there. And immediately I finished, they sent the money the following day. Are you getting what I'm saying? When we were selling the Elite Court, I told people how luxury it will look. It is elite court. So the elite court cannot just come out anyhow. If you go there today, those who invested and paid less than 130 million can sell 220 million. Isn't that good enough for you to invest? Someone who bought that property at 100, 120, 130, 135, 110. Wouldn't that person invest if you tell them about a new property? Because they will know that what you are telling them is truth. Isn't it? You don't just convince them with that. You also make them understand that you don't just build. You build modern houses. You build modern houses with modern facility. Your POP light is the current POP light of the year the project is finishing. Your switches are the current switches the year the project is finishing. Your structure is solid. Your structure is not structure that you will come and find any defect. You don't just sell, oh, hey God. I don't know how you people sell, but you don't just sell by saying you sell land, oh. Have you seen that despite how big Odibola is, you might be here for 10 years without selling one property? Are you not aware? And where some other person is closing deal, then you will not say, the boss is selling now because they are his friends. You get friends, well. Who told you I have friends? Which friends? How many friends have you seen me with? Eh? It is because I am telling the client what they will achieve from investing in my product or in the product of the company. The actual reason may not be the price, but rather a lack of understanding of value. People want to pay for value. People are ready to pay for value. I hope you know that. Before now, did you believe that people will buy 1 2-bedroom for 85 million? Did you believe that? Did you believe that people will buy 1 bedroom for 50 million? Did you believe that? Till tomorrow, people are objecting from other companies. But when they know that you give value in your company, they buy, right? Because they know that 80% of their investment will go into that product. They know that you will give them a quality property. A property that they will not need to come back and start changing their doors. They will start changing their POP. They will start changing their lights. They will start changing their switches. They will start changing their ties. They will start changing the color of their paint. You understand what I'm saying? So it is easy for them to patronize you. So give them value. Tell them the value of that property. Tell them the value of that product. This is where you will discover their genuine concern and handle it more effectively, as they may need more information before making decision. Do you think sales is easy? Do you think sales is easy? Do you think sales is easy? Do you know that Donald Trump winning the American presidency is all about sales? Are you aware? Donald Trump, was he selling the truth? Be sincere. He was selling the truth. He's telling you that he will stop people from coming through the borders. He will create the wall. He's telling you that he will chase illegal immigrants. He's telling you the truth. There are stages you reach in life, you don't have too much time for play. It's a fact. So if you love party, it's good. But understand that after partying, you go and do a research. Because even in the party hall, you might have intelligent people that will be partying and asking you questions. How fun? Oh, I like the way you dance. Where do you work? I'm an HRO in Odibola Properties. Oh, wow. I've heard about that company. They sell property, right? Wow. I think I attended a club in the UK the other time and they shot a lot of people. Probably as something where everybody knows. He said, really? What can I do? Come they go. Sorry, sir. I use you. Do you know why it is important to seek knowledge? The Bible says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Problem of the world is ignorant problem. Ignorant problem is not anything than ignorant problem. People are ignorant. and they are not still ready to seek knowledge. Let me tell you one thing about the brain. Do you notice that if you are doing exercise and gym, most times your head tells you to sleep more and don't go today, that you've done enough 3 days ago, that you can still go next week? Do you know that? And you encourage yourself. But does the brain stop you from eating enough Gary? Eh? So naturally, the body does not want to be put to stress. But it is in stress that you make maximum use of the body. You don't know? Some people want to be in a comfort zone, relax. They don't want to stress. And that is why you don't have results. You don't want to wake up at night to go through your programs. You don't want to plan yourself. You just want to wake up and come to this company anytime you like, and you feel you have capacity for promotion. You can't build capacity by sleeping. You can't build capacity. See, this is not comedy hall where you can just use anybody to perform comedy by coming to crowd without preparation, and you see somebody laugh. You say, why are you laughing as if your head is caterpillar? People will not laugh. Hey! Here, you have to be intellectually sound for you to grow. You don't know? Even me, as the chairman of Odibola Properties, don't you know that if I don't develop myself, if I come here, most times you'll be laughing. When I leave, what you'll be doing is to laugh. Now, this man, no, this man, I'm money Miss Rodo. Hi, this man. You know, there were times we kept administration with the MD, right? And that administration work is because of my involvement in the site. Now, today, I'm handling both administration and the site. If I don't have an insight, it won't work. That you gave somebody a responsibility does not mean you shouldn't have an insight of that responsibility. You don't know. Today, the MD now is also going to the site, right? If he doesn't have an insight, it won't work. He will go there and look and come back. Isn't it? He will not know what to do because his responsibility now take him to site to look at things that are good and things that are bad. So if the job role switches and you don't have the intellectual capacity, you will be mute. You can't do anything. Oh. I will keep telling people 1 + 1 is 2. But if you don't know it in exam, can you do it? She's ICANN certified. But you know how many people that cannot be certified is because they don't read, right? Because they have ICANN exam and they are not ready to develop. Look at the HRO today, can easily analyze things. With him, they were analyzing something, and that thing they were analyzing, the report they had, I made a little changes, and the report, the changes tallies with their report. Was I part of their meeting? Was I there when they were making their changes? They have not given me a report, but it was a matter of urgency that those changes are made. Not for any other purpose, but for the progress of the company. People think that when positions are switched, it's about pride. It's not about pride, it's about efficiency. Because if it is not done, you will stop receiving salary. You don't know? Won't you stop receiving salary? The only time you should start having problems is if your salary is affected. And with time, salary will be affected if productivity of the company, overall productivity low. It will affect everybody. Because if you keep paying people, let's assume you pay them 200,000 and in a month you have only 10,000. After paying, the company have 1 million. Will you pay 200,000? You know, let me make this clear. As the chairman of Odibola, I was like a site man. Are you aware? I was the one in site giving report to the office. But it wasn't anything because it's a teamwork, right? Isn't it? I was the one in site. I was giving report to the MD, right? I was telling him what and what I've gone and what he should handle. That is a site man's work. But you know why I don't bother? Because it is for the progress of the company. So I keep telling you, don't be sentimental about repositioning. Begin to look at the efficiency that comes after the repositioning. That should be the most important thing. Are you getting what I'm saying? That should be the most important thing. Because if our major interest here is to make money and solve our problem, and you find out that the repositioning helps, I don't think anybody should bother. And I asked the last time, when I told the MD to step down as the coordinator for me to coordinate, is there any improvement in any way? Is there any improvement in any way? Is there any improvement? And even the MD, I asked him too. I said, you were thinking it's sentimental, but today you saw the improvement. There is an improvement. If you run a company based on sentiment, the company will die. If you run a company based on emotion, the company will die. If you run a company because you don't want to hurt somebody, and you know that what is happening is not helping, the company will die. And if it dies, no, you know what happened? That person will leave. You don't know. And who becomes failure if this company fail? Who becomes failure? Who? So if I'm the one that becomes the failure, what do I do? Am I not the one to take the right decision? Who is the visionary of this company? Who sees more? So for me to have stayed and make a changes that these two people have already decided that if I had seen their report, it is what I would have seen. Isn't that telling you that I'm seeing what is happening within the place? So when these things happen, we should collaborate and receive them and move. And I tell people, position is about capacity. Are you getting what I'm saying? Position is about capacity. Now, if for any reason you are taken to another place, there is possibility of you not also having the capacity to handle there if you don't want to. You grow capacity. Are we going to say you are doing less in sight? Are you doing less? You are not doing less. But do you know that if you keep giving us the details alone on Slack, it's the same thing we'll be receiving? Does that mean he's not doing what he's supposed to do? Is it not when we give you money, you go and clear? Is it not when we give you money, you go and take surveyor to do something? Is it not when we buy land, you go and do job? All we did was to add you to a group. It's like a group. Are you not the team leader in that group? In this company, procurement is one of the most important places. Are you aware? Procurement is one of the most important places. You can't give procurement or allow someone to be in procurement that is in the company for just 2 years. So most times when things are done, people should understand that it is done based on the place of importance. You can't give someone that is in the company 2 years procurement and one person cannot handle procurement. But someone who has been here for like 7 years and someone who has been here for 2 years, they cannot be going to discuss on how to thief. Right? Somebody must be watching the other person to understand that I've been here. I've been here. You can't even do such suggestion. Because I tell people that the two places that can corrupt you in establishment is site and procurement. You can be so corrupt. And I was discussing with the person how the corruption can happen. It is not every time you have to discuss with the vendor to give you something. But the vendor can just give you something. Are you aware? You don't need to discuss. The vendor can just say, okay, they try you. You people are trying. I like your the way you price. I just thank you for patronizing us. So I just say I should give you this 30,000 from his money. 30,000. You say thank you. God bless you. Thank God say they see our work. And the next time, if he didn't see you, call, you say, I didn't see you people, and I heard you people bought some things. He said, your own is high, so we had to buy from a cheaper person. You would have told me now, I'll be on a friend now. Vroom, he sent you a card, 10,000. I just said, I know, so you go, they make you plenty call, take card. He said, thank you. It's kind of you. Everyone will know by the sell card. Who told you? Who told you? He's coming. He's coming, Now, wow, thank you. I'll call you now tomorrow. Bye-bye. Then the next one you will call is, how you did today now? And so I should check up on you. But I hear you people are starting a new project because you must also have spy in the company. I heard people are starting a new project. But there is a way we will do it, so that it will not look as if I don't want to sell. When you get people prices, just send it to me. I will just bring it down and still give you what you want. It's substandard he wants to give you. You say, that way is better. And when you do it, I would appreciate you. I'm not be saying you thief, or not be saying you do bad thing, Don't be saying you ask for bribe, You now want to justify it. You know, in your mind, you know it's something bad. You just say, okay, no problem. Then the next thing, you will now go and give the guy. Say, look at what other people said. The guy will now bring it down. Because he's giving you money, you will not care to know if it is substandard. He's just changing the company. Is that not corruption? So most times it doesn't come by. That's why I said even the site and procurement is the easiest place. See, no matter how you see, no matter how you are good in catching, you cannot catch all criminals. That is why Moses was advised that he should put men of repute in certain position so that they can coordinate, because a man without reputation will poison the people that he leads. Because in leadership, I'll be teaching about leadership on Monday. In leadership, people look at the leader and live like the leader. Leadership is not mouth, it is action. So if the leader is a thief that does every little thing, he thinks about the money he gets, everybody in that cadre begin to look at what they will get. That is why you see in a company, nobody chases the interest of the company. Everybody chases what they want. Everybody is busy what they will get from this. This thing want to happen. That is why somebody can sell company materials that they bought expensive and sell it lesser than what the company bought. You don't know? You bought a material expensive. Somebody carry that same material and sell it lesser. What did you be that? That person can never have the growth of that company at heart. And I tell people, one thing about those things is that it makes you live above your means. And once those things leave your hand, you become frustrated. And those things too, find out you don't use the money to do anything, it's enjoyment. These are the money that are used for enjoyment. Any money you don't work for, you cannot use it well. It is work that validates the use of money. I learned this thing early. That is why I don't do anything shady. I don't like it. It's not something I appreciate. So even if you want to bring it, I don't appreciate it. Ask him. He told me about a client that wants to buy a property of 1 billion. Was I excited? I did analysis. I said it's not possible to buy it from phone. This client must be, as the client call again. What's the client saying now? She's following you up. If you buy a make I know say I no be Bolaji. Is there any way you can buy a property of 1 billion without seeing the location? Without coming to do investigation of the documentation? On phone, you are concluding and telling me the number of property and even telling me where you are married from. What discussion has brought about that? The person is programming you psychologically. And all those delay you are seeing is part of the programming system. So that the day the person calls you, you say, this thing don't done. He will still call you. Wait, they are programming. That day you will tell me. You say, this thing don't done. Then you will not rush. Say, now when the person come out, no means, they'll carry you. They want to kidnap you. You can't do everything. We don't need much in life. Oh. It is our mind that is telling us we need more. The reason you feel you need more is because you are already competitive. As I am now, what more do I need? Ask yourself. I only need to sustain this company, to make sure that this company keep running for me to keep paying salary and solving issues that come as a result of this company. So if you see me start thinking of buying Lamborghini now of 250 million, do you think I will be like this again? I will not be desperate. Isn't it? Because in my head now, I'm looking that Lamborghini is the class. But is Lamborghini actually the class? Come out from Lamborghini, let's talk and see who has class. Is class Lamborghini? Can't an armed robber buy a Lamborghini? Yahoo boys, are they not buying Lamborghini? Do you think value is in what you wear? Wear what you wear, come and stand with Babati. Wear what you wear, come and stand with me. Wear what you wear, come and stand with most of you here. You will floor them. They don't have anything upstairs. So those things are not class. The reason you see people opt for that, they are using it to cover their inefficiency. And when you go and see them, they are not buying it from the place of pleasure. They are buying it from the place of struggle. So if you buy things based on the fact of that you have the capacity, there is no money is for enjoyment. So I'm telling you today that when you live above your means, based on the fact that you are stealing or taking things from your company, when you leave that position, you will suffer. It is the truth. Whether you accept it or not, the earlier you adjust, the better for. If I want to play fraud, do you think anybody can convince anybody more than me? If I want to play fraud, do you think somebody will convince somebody more than me? Don't you know that when you are even playing fraud, you are more sweeter in your rapping than when you are saying the truth? When I will tell you that the property I'm building now, helipad will be landing. And I will show you the design of the one helipad will land and the one helipad will not land. And the one helipad will not land is that one that will be building. And when that time come, I tell you that things became expensive, we couldn't build the helipad. You don't know people can dupe people from their own job that they do. Eh? Haven't you seen people that set office, the purpose is to play 419? All those people that are doing forex, do you think they were doing forex? They were not, they know it's 419. They know. Don't you know they know? They know that at a time they must crash. There is nowhere in Nigerian you will use money and give to somebody and receive 20% in a month. That thing go crash. Which economy? This one. Government will carry all the allocation and go and give now. Just wait for extra 1 month now. Are you serious? I tell my brothers they were doing. I no go so far. I no go back for far. They look them and say, "Na money go crash," and all crashed. There is a company that also did that. They bought property from. I didn't put my 1 naira from this company. People were putting. They didn't tell me when it crashed. Sha, this is just collect their property. I say bring the details, man. See. Drop it. I go help you. I don't help anybody. Me, do I have anything to help? They don't catch them. Yes, they find them. Yeah, you want to help them. I just want to know what thing I do. Because you don't ask questions. You're looking for fast money. There is no fast money anywhere. Anybody that tells you that there is fast money anywhere is deceiving you. If there is fast money, I will not come out here and be disturbing myself teaching. I will be sleeping at the comfort of my house and receiving AC. You don't know? Let me conclude with this. Instances of common objection from prospective clients. Instances of common objection from prospective clients. Prospective. One of the instances is price. You see clients most times complain about price. They tend to tell you that the price is much. So in that case, I've told you what you should do. You should tell them about value. Another thing is location. They tend to tell you about location. That the location is not good enough. They don't like the area. That the place is far. That is why you need to convince them if your property is a long-term investment. If it is a short-term investment, also tell them what is coming to that location within a short-term period based on your research and something you know must surely happen. Okay? Because these are the instances clients usually object. Some of them even talk about the condition of the properties. You know? That is why you see some people tell you that there is no road in the property. And I ask somebody, will I go and do road in Igruta and Istrokipo? In Quiet Heaven? Who will live there now? That means bush will still cover the road. Those days, the governor, Amechi, did road all over Ubima. Most of the road today, when you pass there, you see bushes. Because nobody passes there. There is no economic value. Before you place a road, bring something that will bring people to that area. It's not about just putting road. It's not about just putting road. No. In fact, I feel electricity is more even important than the road. Don't you think so? Electricity is more important. So if you bring electricity, people will sell pure water. People will sell mineral. People will do cold room. That means there will be movement to that location. Then you can now add the road. It will be economically viable. You know, you can even put one parastatal in that area. So these are the things you should understand. When people talk about, the condition of the land, you tell them, if it is long term, you tell them if you increase the value based on repairs and things you want to do there, the money will increase. And you have some that is like that. It's not your land that is like this. So when you take them to one location and they complain, don't just end there. Tell them other location that is okay, because you have different location for different set of persons that are investing in your company. Okay? So not when they tell you, start laughing, you say, I will tell my company, no. Thank God say they talk and too. Some marketers are like that, you don't know. I will tell them, they know they are. Okay, thank God you are the one saying it too. Okay, I know what I'll take you, go give me. I'll still repeat this thing. The man after repeating it is gone. You must be confident in talking to your client about your property and reason why they are in that condition. Financial situation, stroke timing. Some people tell you they cannot afford the property. They tell you that they are expecting money, but they have gone for inspection. That someone came for inspection simply means he has something in mind. So in that case too, try to find out why. It might be because the property is too pricey. Take the client to where they can afford and give them reason why they should purchase where they can afford. Making them understand that it is important to put their money in property than putting it in the bank. Because in the long run, the money will not lose appreciation. No matter what, it will not depreciate. But if the money is in the bank, there will be depreciation value. The money you put in the bank today may not be able to buy land for you in the next 5 years. But when you use it to buy land today, it cannot depreciate. It either maintain its value or there will be addition to the money. Are you getting what I'm saying? Practical techniques for handling sales objection. Number one, listening actively. Listening actively. For you to be a good salesperson or a top manager that wants to sell or a team leader, you must listen to your client actively. Don't be pressing for when the client is talking. Don't be talking when the client is talking. Allow the client to finish their explanation. Allow the client to finish talking about their concerns. Allow the client to finish objecting you. Don't interrupt them. Give them the opportunity to express themselves. Are you getting what I'm saying? Listen actively, because it is in listening you will know the worries and you can easily solve them. Negotiation skills. Negotiation skills. Negotiation skills. There are some properties you take client to because you know they are ready to buy more and they are already objecting based on the pricing and the location. You can negotiate with them and tell them, if you are buying 10 from this location, I can talk to my establishment to give you extra one. Because you know that at that time the company is getting more profit because the person is buying more. And there is something the company may want to solve with that money at that time. Rather than going to borrow money, is it not better to sell the product they have and solve their problem? So negotiation skills are required while dealing with sales objections. These skills assist you in converting a no into a yes. It helps you in converting a no into a yes by addressing your potential client concerns and establishing a common ground. Instead of accepting a client's initial objection, ask broad questions like, can you tell me more about what you are thinking or what's holding you back from moving forward? You know, I've said this. When a client stops interacting with you after you're talking about transaction, you think about what must have transpired. When you have that in your mind most times, you might put it to the client. What has made you stop conversing with us? So what is the issue? What problem do you want me to solve? Already you have something in your mind that could be the problem. And when the client mistakenly knock that point, you just bring your answer to the client because you are prepared already, right? These are questions. These questions encourages client to share more details, helping you understand their concerns. Be ready. Be ready to ask them. Let them tell you their concerns. Then you expatiate on it so that you can solve that concerns for them. So you must have a negotiation skills. If you don't know how to negotiate, you can't sell property. Are you getting what I'm saying? Eh? There are people I've sold property for that I've done certain level of discount for. Because I want to encourage them to buy their first property. Because I know that after buying their first property, they will buy more. Because I have a good product. So even as a top manager, you might have such concerns. Get to the management to discuss it and see how we can help you encourage your client to invest. You understand what I'm saying? So don't always take the decision on your own or feel that this cannot work. You can ask questions. You can go to top management. You can see how you can maneuver things to make things work for the client. Because as a consultant, one of the things you do is to encourage people to invest. Knowing that once they invest in their first property, you hold them. If you give them something good, they will come and they will bring their friends. So if not for anything, you are giving that leverage from their friends that you are going to get in future. Am I making sense? Huh? Addressing hidden concerns. Once you have identified the root cause, immediately resolve it. For example, if a client is concerned about the timing of the project rather than the cost, you can discuss ways to meet their deadline or change to modify the project scope to fit in their schedule. Most people don't actually buy off-plan because of timing. They feel that a lot of people involved in off-plan usually delays projects. So they are no longer talking about the price right now. They are talking about the concern of the delay. So give them testimony of other properties you've done. Give them testimony of other projects you've done. If they even want to see, you can take them to one or two of your clients that you have not disappointed in terms of delivery. And let them make an inquiry and get the response. And at the end of it, that will convince them to invest. So not just slipping away from that or saying anything you like. Give them an evidential response that can encourage them to invest in your establishment. Provide alternatives. Provide alternatives.
I've always said it, that you take a client to one property and the object does not mean they don't have the willingness to buy from other properties. Always tell them about alternatives. A client that have 5 million can buy your Quiet Heaven, can buy your Home View, can buy your Freedom Layout, can buy your Sky View, can buy most of the properties that you have that fall within that range. And if you take them to where you sell for 8 million and they cannot afford, talk to them about those other properties and give them reason why they shouldn't go back with that money. Rather than going back with that money, let them scatter it here for the next 2 years. They can retrieve the income that comes from it and invest in property of choice. Haven't you give them a good advice? Eh? So sales is not a joke. You see why I will keep selling and why you can start selling if you keep following what I teach? The problem is that most of you go through these seminars and sleep afterwards, and you remain the same. You need to know this thing like your Bible. The Bible says, anybody that is diligent in his business will stand before king. You can't say real estate is your business, you can't talk about it, and you talk about diligence. You should be worried if you are not selling. Let me still say, I saw the apartment, my secretary getting worried last time because she has not met her target. Worried. Worried. Even if I encourage her, that is the spirit. That is the right spirit. Because if you're not worried, that means there is a problem. You were making 20, you started making 5, and you are not worried. That worrying will make you look at the place you are not doing well, and you begin to correct them. Is that not the truth? So you are not selling, but you are a real estate consultant, you are a top manager, you are a team leader, and you are not worried. And you come every day to the company, you sit down, after talking, you go, Abba, are you feeling okay? Oh, God. Respond with confidence. When faced with sales objection, listening attentively to a client before replying is essential. Understand the client concerns fully and address them directly with clear and straightforward answers. Avoid using complex languages. You see how I do this seminar, I don't put plenty grammar because it's not necessary. Here is not a grammar hall. It's a seminar. People should understand. It should be easy. I shouldn't come here and start saying, do you know what I'm talking about, right? Then before you know, and I say something you need a dictionary to look at. Just because I want to feel funky. No. When talking to your client, don't use complex. Use words that the client can understand so that the client can comprehend and make transaction easy for you. If the client does not understand what square meter is, talk to the client about plots. You mustn't go and tell a client that so most times you need to understand that there are terminologies you don't need to bring out. Yes, don't worry, I'll make the concept of the government available. Or what do you mean? I only know C of O or deed of conveyance. He said, no, we have a concept. You are making the man feel you know yourself. You don't know yourself. Because anyone give you money, just tell them waiting go feel make them feel free and believe you to give you. Are we making sense? Don't use complex language. Be confident. When answering question, be confident. There are some people that customer will throw their question. They will not tell the customer that, okay, you know this property thing well. Oh. Hey, I never heard this one before. Mortgage. Yeah. I, do you people do mortgage? Can I come and apply so that we can meet our bank? Mortgage. Okay, we need to engage you. Some people are like that now. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know. God. People will say, oh, really? Oh, okay. You don't go far. Your client, you tell your client, say, you don't go far. When shame go catch you, go do like say phone off. Off and wrong, go read what the thing mean. Go talk. You are busy saying the client. Oh, God. God. Yes, the title document. I mean the assignment, what you're going to assign. Oh, God. Assign? Yes, I mean what you're going to assign to me after the transaction. You just be looking at the man. The man will still look for another one again to tell you. Well, the root title, the root title. What's the root title? Okay, hold on. I don't understand this one. Okay, just explain what to you. The tech client. Where you supposed to come? Don't you know people are like that? They don't know. Oh, you don't know? I will shock you here. Don't worry, I will do sales training here. I'll do sales training. I will bring in salespeople, and I will shock you. You know that most of the terminology in real estate, a lot of salespeople don't. And you'll be disappointed to ask yourself, how can this person close sales? And those are the ones that feel that they need to sleep with somebody to close sales. And they don't know that sleeping with somebody can be equated in different form. I keep telling ladies, somebody have used their body to build duplex. You use your own to sell land for your company. When land, the company, they collect money, they collect percentage. No be waste. Now waste. You know why? Because nothing did the head. Some person said they don't see the body, they still build duplex because of intelligence. So anything that makes you sell yourself because of inefficiency, just know you're in trouble. You sell it for so long and to so many people. So develop mental capacity so that you don't need to sell anything. You only need to sell what you sell. And that is real estate. All right, let's try some example of confident response. Number one, this price is too high. Confident response. I understand that prices. I understand your price concern, sir. Let me explain the value you are getting for that amount and why it's worth the investment. Then you start from there. That is confident response. Says objection 2. I need more time to think about it. Confident response. Taking time to analyze your option is important. Is there anything else I can provide you with to help your decision? Confident response. So you are supporting him. You say, that means this person is not in a haste. Okay, let me know if there's anything. There are people that wants to buy property. I say, go and think it through. Because I'm seeing them having some little, I said, just go and think it through. Don't rush. I said, don't just bring your money. Go and think it through. Because I know if you think it through, you know that in your subconscious, I've put the right word there. And it will surely work. So your own, not to zubo, bring it now. Okay, the property will finish you. Okay, they are buying the land, finish you. No. Think it through. Number 3, I am not sure this product is right for me. Confident response. I understand your concern. Could you please tell me about your specific needs? I can show you how this product addresses those. All right. Have a solid follow-up approach. A follow-up approach is the last alternative in practically handling sales objection. It is not just about reaching out again to that client. It's about remaining in touch. Did I say so earlier? Showing you care and addressing their concerns with real solution. After your initial conversation, send a quick message or call to check how they react to your offer. This approach lets them know you are willing to assist. Clients want to know that you are willing to assist them. You're not taking advantage of them. It's not all about money. And that is why I said any salesperson that their concentration is all about the money, you can never be a good salesperson. You must address their concerns. You must solve their problem. And with that, it is easy for them to always transact with you. Note, consistency is essential. Don't just follow up once and then give up. Stay on their mind. That is their radar, but in a friendly and helpful manner. Example of real estate professionals that tackle sales objection. Real life examples. I will take this and start with the new.